Hello everyone, this is Dr. Sushma Sarala, consulting homeopath at Pidikis Homeopathy. Today we are going to discuss about RFA, which is radio frequency ablation for fibroid treatment. Let us go in depth in the topic to know what are its uses, what are its side effects, what are the tests that have to be done before RFA, and what is the best treatment option for fibroids. Let's dive into the topic. What is RFA? RFA is nothing but radio frequency ablation. Here they use, it is a very minimally invasive procedure, that is one thing, and the second thing, it spares the uterus itself, so there is no harm done to the uterus, and also the uterus can be preserved even after an RFA procedure, and also there will be application of heat to the fibroid so as to shrink it. This is the gist of RFA. RFA means radio frequency ablation. Here the uterus is spared and also they use heat to destroy the fibroid which is causing the symptoms. What are the conditions for an RFA procedure to be performed? The first and foremost condition is the fibroids which are to be treated should be symptomatic in nature. What do you mean by symptomatic fibroids? Many people, even though they have fibroids, they might not be experiencing any sort of symptoms. But some people do experience symptoms like prolonged bleeding for more than 7 or 8 days, or a lot of blood coming out in first 5-6 days, lot of clots appearing in the menstruation, severe back pain, pain radiating from the hypogastric region to the back, or pain radiating from the lower back region to the thighs also, sometimes pain radiating from the hypogastric region to the thighs, pain overall in the pelvic region, severe dysmenorrhea during menstruation. All of these are the symptoms of fibroids. Along with this, if you have prolonged bleeding, you can have other symptoms like anemia, that is iron deficiency anemia also. So if you're having any sort of these symptomatology associated with your fibroids, you can get an RFA done. Next is uterine preservation. If you're someone who is thinking of fertility, or if you're someone who's thinking of keeping your uterus, whereas by not removing it through hysterectomy, then RFA might be the chosen procedure. Apart from that, fibroid size and number is very important in RFA treatment. If you're someone whose fibroid is 8 centimeters, 9 centimeters, if it is 10 centimeters, then RFA might not be the procedure for you. The RFA is usually treated where the fibroid size should be 5 centimeters or less than 5 centimeters. And also the number of fibroids should be less than 4 fibroids. So if you're someone who has multiple fibroids, or if you're someone who has a larger fibroid, RFA might not be for you. But if you're someone whose fibroid is 5 centimeters or less, then RFA can be a chosen option. Apart from that, location of the fibroid is also important. If it is intramural fibroid, if it is subserosal fibroid, if it is submucosal fibroid, then RFA procedures can be performed, but it surely depends upon the location, the type of the fibroid, and also if it has a peduncle, that is a stalk or not. If you want to know the types of fibroids, if you want to know the symptoms associated with the fibroids or the causes of fibroids, we've already done a video on it. We will be providing you with the link in the description box. You can once check it out. And there should not be any history of any sort of malignancy. It can be pelvic or cervix malignancy. And apart from that, remember, RFA should be the primary form of treatment that the person is getting. RFA cannot be performed after UAE or after myolysis or after myomectomy. So any prior treatment to the fibroid, then RFA might not be the chosen option next. If you have already done a treatment for fibroid, then RFA might not be the next chosen option. Next, coming into the contradictions for RFA. What are the contradictions of RFA? First and foremost thing, if you are having desire for fertility or pregnancy, what is that? We've already discussed that you want to preserve the uterus. Why do you want to preserve the uterus? Because you want to preserve the uterus for fertility, right? See, RFA is not a procedure wherein a lot of trials have not been made on RFA. So we do not know the outcome of the fertility or the outcome of the pregnancy and after an RFA treatment. So that is something to worry about because there is not enough studied on RFA. Second thing, if there is any sort of malignancy confirmed or suspected, you cannot perform an RFA. Apart from that, if you are having any active pelvic infection, wherein you are having a nausea, you are having fever, you are having pain in the lower abdomen, all of these symptoms can be because of your PID, but the PID has to be checked through other tests. So if you are confirmatory or if you are confirmed for a PID infection, then RFA might not be the option for you. Apart from that, as we have already discussed, if you are having larger fibroids or more number of fibroids or atypical fibroids, what do you mean by atypical fibroid? the fibroid composition should be in a certain manner. If the composition is different, it can be suspected as malignancy. So any suspicion also will contradict RFA treatment. So these are some of the contradictions. Let's see other contradictions also. Very large uterus or fibroids which are not accessible. This is also one of the contradiction for RFA. So what do you mean by very large uterus? Sometimes the fibroid size grows so large, or there can be a condition where there is fibroid along with bulky uterus and the uterus starts to look big. In that condition also RFA might not be the procedure. And also if the fibroid is not accessible or not in a location where they can access properly and treat it properly, it is a contradictory factor for RFA. Apart from that, if you have severe adhesions or distorted pelvic anatomy. What do you mean by distorted pelvic anatomy or pelvic adhesions? If you have seen our videos previously, you will understand that whenever there is an infection, whenever there is some problem, the body tapes all of the organs together so as to restrict the infection. It tapes it like a plaster. If you're having any sort of adhesions like that, RFA might not be the procedure for you. Apart from that, even though RFA is a very minimally invasive procedure, it is an invasive procedure, right? Although if it is minimal. So if your blood is not clotting on time, or if you're having any bleeding disorders, that can lead into an issue. So coagulation disorders, if you're having any sort of coagulation disorders, then that is also a contradictory factor. Apart from that, if you have any implanted electronic devices, what do you mean by implanted electronic devices? If you have any pacemakers, or if you have undergone a surgery where they put some device in your body, it can be rods because of accidents to your bone, all of these things. If you have any sort of implants, then RFA procedure should be done very carefully, or it is better to avoid RFA procedure. So these are some of the contradictions for radiofrequency ablation for the treatment of fibroid. Next, coming into the tests that have to be performed before RFA treatment, that is before radiofrequency ablation for the treatment of fibroids. The first and foremost test, it can be RFA, it can be UAE, it can be myomectomy, it can be myolysis, it can be hysterectomy. The first and foremost golden standard is pelvic USG. You have to perform a pelvic ultrasonography. Apart from that, to get a clearer view, you should be doing your MRI. And then a common test that is for every sort of surgery is CBC, which is complete blood count, where we will be knowing if you have any sort of iron deficiency anemia, if you're having any sort of infections running in your body wherein the neutrophils are risen, your lymphocytes are risen, or any allergic reactions where your eosinophils are risen. We will be knowing all of that through the CBC. Along with that, ESR is also should be done, which is erythrocyte sedimentation rate. It increases usually in infection. If you're having any sort of infection, if you're having even pelvic inflammatory disease also, ESR can be increased. So by increased ESR, which means it is a contradiction for RFA. Apart from that, we have beta HCG, which is to confirm pregnancy. If you're right now pregnant, RFA cannot be performed. It is a contradictory factor. Apart from the tests, we have other regular tests also. First one is coagulation profile. As we have discussed, if we have any sort of coagulation bleeding disorders as such, or clotting disorders, it will be very hard to control the blood. So in order to know if you are having any bleeding disorders or not, we can get INR profile done or coagulation profile done. Apart from this, we need to do a pap smear if you are suspecting cervical malignancy. For example, if there is bleeding during intercourse, or by touching the cervix itself during examination, during bimanual examination, there is severe bleeding, then they will be doing a pap smear. As you can see here, pap smear will help you know if you have any sort of cervical malignancy. So this is the instrument that is used, and this is the brush that is used. They brush out the cervical cells and they send it to the lab to see if you are suffering from any sort of malignancy. Because if you're positive for malignancy or if they're suspecting malignancy, RFA treatment cannot be performed. And then urine analysis to know if you have any sort of urinary tract infections. And apart from that, remember fibroids are usually because of hormonal imbalance. So to know how your hormones are working, we need a hormonal profile also. These are some of the tests that need to be done before radiofrequency ablation. Now coming into the types and procedures for radiofrequency ablation for the treatment of fibroids. There are three types of radiofrequency ablation methodologies. First one being laparoscopic RFA. So what is laparoscopic RFA? If you are in laparoscopic RFA, I'll be explaining to you through this picture. As you can see, this is the uterus. As you can see here, this is the uterus. Okay. So what they will be doing in laparoscopic procedure, they will punch a hole where they will be sending the laparoscopic ultrasound. Through this, they can view the procedure, the inside of the uterus clearly. and then they will be sending you the probe, that is radio frequency ablation hand probe or hand piece, wherein it will go inside the fibroid. And the third one is the camera. To view it, in all aspects, to view it properly, we need to insert a camera also outside so as to produce a better view. So the laparoscopic ultrasound is pierced to view the inside, and then radio frequency handpiece is pierced so as to reach your fibroid, and a camera is placed so as to have a better view. And then what will happen? As you can see here in the picture, this is the given fibroid and this is the RFA handpiece. It will pierce the fibroid and it will send a heat into the fibroid where it will start to coagulate and shrink. So this is the main purpose, or this is the main procedure how an RFA is done. Now the second type of RFA, which is known as transvaginal RFA. It is usually preferred in women who have already married or who are already married. It is not preferred in women who are unmarried. As you can see here in the picture, in laparoscopic procedure, they will puncture through the abdomen, right? But in transvaginal, they will be sending the instruments through the vaginal orifice. This is usually a preferred method of treatment if you have submucosal fibroid. A submucosal fibroid is a fibroid which is occurring in the uterine cavity or which is occupying the uterine cavity. So as you can see here, it has distorted the uterine cavity as such. So they will reach it through the vaginal orifice, they will pierce the probe, and you can see here there is red color, right, which is they are giving heat to that fibroid so as to decrease or shrink the fibroid. So this is the transvaginal RFA. Viewing the next kind of RFA, which is ultrasonic RFA or ultrasonic guided RFA. As you can see here in the picture, you all know that during pelvic USG, they will be putting a handpiece along with the gel on your stomach and then they will view it in the computer, right? So here, as you can see here, they will be putting the probe on the stomach and then they will be viewing it with the gel, and then wherever there is a fibroid, they will pierce it, and then you can see this red color discoloration, right? All of this red color indicates heat where they have destroyed the fibroids wherein they have undergone RFA procedure. So this is ultrasonic guided RFA procedure. So there are three types of procedure. All the three types of procedure should undergo these basic steps. What are the basic steps? First step is visualization, that is they have to view where the fibroid is either through laparoscopic procedure or through ultrasound guided procedure. Second thing, they have to target the fibroid. Wherever the fibroid is there, they have to target it by piercing the hand probe or piercing the RFA probe. Then they have to shrink the fibroid through application of heat. And fourth one, recovery. Remember, recovery in RFA is of very less time. That is, you either get the procedure done in the morning and you can be discharged the next day morning. It depends upon the number of fibroids and also the fibroids and the type of RFA that you are being performed. So after the RFA, usually the recovery time is very, very less compared to other forms of treatment. Now let us get into the benefits of RFA, that is radiofrequency ablation for treatment of fibroids. The first and foremost thing is the reason why we are doing is to shrink the fibroid, right? So there is reduction in fibroid size. Second one, there is symptomatic relief, your prolonged bleeding, your menorrhagia conditions, your clots, your severe painful menstruation, the bearing down sensation, all of this can be controlled or regulated or can decrease after RFA. And then uterus preservation, the uterus will be preserved after RFA. There is no taking out of the uterus or surgical removal of the uterus involved in RFA. And also the fourth one is it is very, very minimally invasive. So the downtime after the treatment is also very, very less compared to myolysis or myomectomy or hysterectomy or UAE. Now coming into the risk factors associated with radiofrequency ablation for the treatment of fibroids. The first and foremost risk factor that is associated is pain. It can be myomectomy, it can be myolysis, it can be UAE. Pain is a common feature of any sort of surgery. Along with that, we can have bleeding, we can have infection where they will be giving you antibiotics where you have to take it with a proton pump inhibitor, and then they will be giving you painkillers. All of this will alter the gut bacteria. Remember that there is uterus also present, right? So this can again cause hormonal imbalance which can cause recurrence. This is the main factor of RFA, or it can be of any other procedure that they are doing. See, remember, when you're not targeting the cause of the symptom, then the symptom will repeat again because there is a cause inherent inside of it. So here we are not treating the hormonal imbalance. We are just treating the symptom, which is the fibroid. We are removing it. It can again reoccur. So that is one thing. And apart from that, they can have post-ablation inflammation, and also they can have severe cramping, severe discharge, white discharge, and sometimes they can even face urinary tract infections. So apart from these risks, what are the other risks that are associated with RFA? The other risks associated with RFA, which are of very risky nature or grade 1 risky nature. First one is uterine perforation. Here, if the procedure is not performed properly, the probe can go directly through the uterine wall and perforate and make a hole in the uterus. This can lead into severe problems. It can lead into pelvic adhesions. It can lead into PIDs. It can lead into overall septicemia. It can lead into blood pooling inside of your organs. So this is one problem. And the second problem after this uterine perforation is it can cause hemorrhage, that is bleeding or pooling of the blood, called as hematoma. It can cause abscess where it is filled up with the pus, and also it can cause colon laceration. What do you mean by colon laceration? Here we are not targeting the colon, right? But remember, uterus is not present separately inside a box inside the human body, right? It is present in the midsection, where anteriorly you will be having urinary bladder and posteriorly you will be having the colon. By colon we mean intestines. If the procedure is not performed properly, it can cause laceration, that is, it can cause a tear in the intestine, which can cause leaking of the fecal material, which can in turn cause pelvic adhesions and also cause other included features like septicemia. And then we can have endometritis, where the endometrial tissue as such is very inflamed, it's red, it's very reactive, it's infected, and also it can cause fibroid expulsion. What do you mean by fibroid expulsion? You see, we remember that RFA is only done in people where the fibroid size is less than 5 centimeters, right? So 5 centimeters fibroid, after being shrunken or after applying this heat, it can become, it can tear off from the original cavity and it can come down through the vaginal cavity. That can be very, very painful. That is also one of the risk factors for fibroid expulsion. Apart from this, there can be deep vein thrombosis. What is deep vein thrombosis? While performing the surgery, if the clots occur, they usually resolve inside a blood vessel only, the smaller clots. But if a bigger clot comes and it is moving throughout the circulatory system and it gets attached somewhere in the capillary, wherever it is getting attached, that whole area, that whole organ or wherever it is getting at, that whole part will not receive any blood supply. It will start to become necrosed, which is death, and then it will start to become putrefied also if it is not taken care. So that is a deadly problem of this RFA treatment. This embolism can be lodged either in the brain, it can lodge in the heart, or it can lodge in the lower leg vessels, where it can lead into varicose veins, or it can lead into DVT, deep vein thrombosis symptoms like bluish discoloration, leg ulcers, varicose veins ulcers. All of this can occur. Now coming into the homeopathic treatment part for fibroids. Remember, we have already discussed about RFA, we have discussed about its benefits, we have discussed about the risky factors. Here, after discussing about RFA benefits and risk factors, you might have understood that the benefits are very less compared to the risk factors that are involved in this RFA treatment. So, we need a procedure or we need a treatment wherein the number of benefits are more, the risk factors are very less or negligible, and also the outcome should be good. And all of that, homeopathy ticks all of these boxes because it is very safe to use and everyone and anyone can use homeopathy, and also it is very, very effective, and also it does not have any side effects. It is non-invasive. We are not going to do any surgical procedure on you. It will regulate your hormones, which is very, very important if you are planning for pregnancy or if you are planning to keep your uterus in a healthy manner. If you want to have your hormones under control, you need a medicine that will control your hormones or it will balance out your hormones. So by balancing the hormones, there will be no recurrence in the fibroids. This is very, very important, and that is what is lacking in allopathic form of treatment. Here the recurrency level compared to the allopathic level in homeopathy, it is very less. And also with homeopathic medications, we will be able to regulate your menstrual cycle, where we will be able to regulate either your prolonged bleeding or too much bleeding, or your clots or your pain. We will be able to monitorize all of these symptoms and also give you a regulated menstrual cycle, and we will be preventing furthermore recurrences, and also you will be treated holistically, and by giving the medication in a timely manner, your fibroid size will start to shrink, the symptoms will get better, your iron deficiency will get better. We will give medications for your iron deficiency also, and also for your anemia, any sort of, it can be any sort of anemia, it can be B12, it can be iron, it can be any sort of anemia. We will be giving medications for that also. So we will be covering you holistically. So we are improving without any side effects, and you're improving the conditions, you're preventing furthermore recurrences, you're curing the conditions and giving relief to the existing conditions. I think this is the most proposed and most easiest and also most beneficial form of treatment for fibroid. Coming to the neglect part, what happens if you neglect fibroids? Remember that fibroids are formed mostly because of hormonal imbalance, okay, or genetic factors. If it is because of hormonal imbalance, then an improper hormonal balance can create other issues. It can associate your fibroids and it can cause other diseases like endometriosis, adenomyosis, polycystic ovaries, or bulky uterus. And also, whenever the fibroid is compared or it is made in pair with the other diseases of the uterus, it is a little harder to treat. And also the fibroid size will start to grow, which will make hysterectomy the only option if this fibroid size is really large. And whenever the fibroid is growing, it will take or drain off all the blood. It can lead into menorrhagia and metrorrhagia conditions, where you will have severe anemic condition and blood transfusion is necessary, and in very rare cases it can transform into a cancer. So if you're someone who's suffering from fibroids, please do take doctor consultation as soon as possible. If you're someone who's suffering from fibroids or endometriosis or adenomyosis or polycystic ovaries or dysmenorrhea or PID, remember that Fideicus Homeopathy is the best way to cure all of this. We have two types of consultations here at Fideicus Homeopathy. One is the online option and second is the offline or the in-person option. If you're someone who's staying near the nearest branch of Fideicus, you can come and contact us in person. If you're someone who's seeing this video and are far away from us, you can contact us online through audio consultation options or through video consultation options. Once the procedure is done and once the case is taken, we will be asking you for investigations, and any sort of already done investigations can be shared with us. After the whole procedure is done, especially to our online clients, we will be delivering you our medication. If you're staying in India, it can take 3 to 4 business days. If you're staying in USA, it can take 3 to 5 business days. Anywhere across the globe, it can take 4 to 8 business days for our medicines to reach your doorstep. If you would like to get in touch with us, you can call us on this number, WhatsApp us, or messages. And if you would like to know more about Fideicus Homeopathy, you can check our website www.fideicus.com. If you're someone who's suffering from female reproductive organ diseases, it can be fibroids, endometriosis, adenomyosis, PID, dysmenorrhea, polycystic ovaries, remember that Fideicus Homeopathy is the best way to choose your cure, because Fideicus Homeopathy stands for highest chance of health. Here we surely follow 3 principles. The first one is having highest success rate in already treating the existing disorders related to the female reproductive system. We have good number of cases where the outcome is very good and the recurrence rate has decreased. And also we have transparent treatment principle, wherein there is no gray area between the patient and the doctor. We will be discussing it with you about the prognosis of the case. And third is the personal care here at Fideicus is top notch. If you have any sort of misunderstandings or queries related to your problem, they will all be clarified. If you want to choose health, if you want to choose cure, choose Fideicus Homeopathy. Thank you.